I'm sure you saw the viral video today of the defensive lineman coming off the field and losing it on Russell Wilson. Now, the difference of Russell and Zach Wilson, right, is Russell has a decade's worth of resume. Pro Bowls, all pros, competing for MVPs, taking teams to the playoffs, winning big games, playing at the highest level of the NFL. So he has equity when he came into the locker room, right? Even if it's like, hey, man, I knew some of the dudes on Seattle. They said this guy's kind of a whack job. But it's like, hey, he's Russell Wilson. We need to improve in the quarterback. We'll deal with it. Then you're around him, and it's like, well, we don't really see it, but he's got a long resume. So you give him the benefit of the doubt, even if you think he's a weirdo. Then before the season starts, he gets this enormous fucking contract, right? He's making $240 million, $45 million a year, 160 or 70 guaranteed. So he's immediately making way more than everyone else on the team. So it's like, you didn't have any equity here, but you had earned it in the league. We get it. Whatever. They traded a lot for you. We understand. But then the season plays out. And the equity that you didn't have with us, you got to earn. We've all worked for people that, even if they have a long resume, you still have to earn the other human being's respect, right, in a professional setting. And by the end of this, I guess not the end of the season, but they're 12 games in, right? They're officially now 4-8. I wonder if some of these guys look at him and go, he's a weirdo. He's the highest paid guy on our team, and he sucks. That's a bad combination. And especially the defensive guys go, every single week we're bringing it. Statistically, you could argue Niners, whatever. They're a top 2 or 3 defense in the NFL. I saw a stat that if the Denver Broncos had just scored, this was last week, 18 points in every game, they would have been coming into this week 9-1. Maybe it would have been 10-1, whatever, 9-2. It would have been fantastic. He stinks. He's awful. Now, we can say Nate Hackett has no business being a head coach in the NFL. That's fair. I wouldn't argue. But you cannot argue that when you watch Russell Wilson, I just watched bits and pieces of that game, he's awful. He's not any good. And at least the Packers, they paid him all this money. Aaron had earned it. Aaron had carried that franchise. And then even the last 2 years, back-to-back MVPs. Russell earned this contract just because the Broncos didn't get Aaron Rodgers. And then they trade for this guy, and then they give him all this money. And he's the reason, with the head coach, they suck. And I'd argue the head coach and him go hand in hand. Because eventually, if I just call a basic pass play, and the dude's open on a 7-yard out route or a 5-yard in route or whatever, the guy just sitting in a zone, and Russell Wilson's looking at him, and he throws the ball, and he airmails him or hits him in the feet. Is that on Nathaniel Hackett? Now, we can nitpick the timeouts and some of the specific play calls, run or pass, but there is just a basic element of when I drop back and a guy's open and Russell's looking at him and the ball goes 5 feet behind him or goes 7 feet to the right of him. That's a Russell Wilson problem. And I don't think Sean Payton, I don't think Bill Walsh, I don't think Vince Lombardi could fix that. Russell Wilson shot. But for the first time, he's not good enough for everyone to just take his weirdness. I hate weird, wacko people. I can't imagine being good at my job like all the players are on Denver's defense who make dramatically less than Russell Wilson and keep having to pretend to kiss this guy's ass. I think you saw for the first time today, they're snapping. They're cracking. And I support it because Russell Wilson looks god-awful.